Welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're exploring the architecture of immersion, a guide to virtual reality. This stuff used to feel literally like science fiction, right? But it's rapidly becoming just our everyday reality. We're going to take a super clear, jargon-free journey into how this tech actually works and how it's totally reshaping the way we experience the world.
Okay, let's dive into this. Just imagine for a second, what if you could walk on the dusty surface of the moon, or practice complex open-heart surgery, or even tour this gorgeous modern house in Tokyo, all without ever leaving your living room sofa? Sounds crazy, but virtual reality brilliantly bridges that gap between our wildest imaginations and tangible reality. It literally gives us passports to worlds that just don't physically exist around us.
Moving right into Section 1, Stepping into Virtual Reality. We are officially leaving the flat 2D world behind. Think about it. For decades, all our learning, our entertainment, it's been locked behind flat glass, right? 2D TVs, monitors, our smartphones. But VR completely shatters that flat glass. By definition, virtual reality is a computer-generated 3D world that actively blocks out your real-world surroundings. It lets you explore and interact with a digital environment exactly as if you were physically standing inside it. You slip on a headset, and boom, your physical room just vanishes. And what creates that true sense of immersion is the real-time response. When you move your head to look up at a virtual sky, or you reach out your hands, the virtual world reacts instantly. It completely tricks your brain into believing you've actually been transported.
So how does it actually pull off this trick? Well, there are four main pillars working together here. First up is the headset. Think of it like a magical scuba mask, but instead of plunging you underwater, it plunges you into digital worlds, using screens placed super close to your eyes to give you this deep, incredible sense of 3D vision. Second, we have motion tracking. This is basically a hyper-smart digital mirror. Sensors are constantly tracking your body and head movements, so the virtual world shifts naturally right along with you, just like your shadow. Third, the controllers. These act as your virtual hands. They let you pick up a digital coffee cup or push a virtual button. And finally, the software. That's the underlying brain of the whole operation, generating these vibrant, wildly detailed worlds you're exploring.
Which brings us to Section 2, Fully versus Semi-Immersive VR. Let's look at the different levels of depth here. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that not all VR setups are identical. Your depth of immersion really depends on the hardware you're using. It's a spectrum, On one end, we've got fully immersive VR. This is using those sensory blocking headsets with the motion tracking we just talked about. It gives you the absolute ultimate realism, perfect for gaming or taking those virtual tourism trips. It is quite literally like diving in and swimming in the ocean. On the far other end, we have semi-immersive VR. This relies on large screens or massive projector setups, mostly used for specialized training and education. So fully immersive is swimming in the ocean. Semi-immersive is more like looking at a massive, incredibly detailed aquarium. You are super engaged with what's happening, but you're still completely aware of the physical room around you. All right, let's step out into Section 3, Real-World VR Applications. We're going to see who's actually using this stuff today. It is so easy to dismiss VR as just a flashy toy for gamers, right? But it has fundamentally infiltrated some of our most critical industries. In healthcare, doctors are using it for really delicate surgery training, and patients use it for therapeutic recovery. In real estate, buyers are taking full virtual property tours of homes thousands of miles away without ever booking a flight. Tourism lets you explore famous global landmarks right from your couch. But honestly, the absolute standout advantage here is training. Pilots, soldiers, engineers working on heavy machinery, they can all practice really dangerous, high-stakes skills safely. Think about it. If a pilot makes a critical error in a virtual flight simulator, nobody gets hurt. They literally just hit reset. It is a revolutionary game-changer for safe, repeatable, totally zero-risk training.
Next up, Section 4, Transforming the Modern Classroom. Because VR isn't just for professionals.
And that whole concept of safe, repeatable training perfectly sets up what this technology can do for students. VR is rapidly becoming the absolute ultimate tool for education. Just imagine being a high school biology student right now. Instead of staring at a flat, boring diagram of a heart in some heavy textbook, you put on a headset and you're suddenly walking inside a giant pumping human heart. You're watching the valves open and close in full 3D space. Or in history class, instead of just memorizing dates about ancient Rome, you are transported to stand smack in the middle of the Colosseum, exactly as it looked 2,000 years ago. I mean, wow. This completely transforms student engagement. It actively takes passive reading and studying and turns it into this vibrant, unforgettable, visceral experience.
Let's get real for a second in Section 5, the reality of VR.
We've got to take off the metaphorical headset for a minute. As incredibly enthusiastic as we can be about this tech, we really have to look at the practical limitations of what's on the market today. Looking at the advantages, we clearly have those highly immersive experiences, the incredibly safe training environments, vastly better learning, and amazing remote collaboration. But we absolutely must weigh that against some distinct disadvantages. So the crucial point is this. The equipment can be super expensive. It needs powerful hardware to run. Physically, motion sickness and dizziness are real hurdles for some people, and long sessions, they definitely lead to eye strain. Plus, when you're that fully immersed, you have severely limited real-world awareness, which means you could very easily trip right over your real-life coffee table while you're busy exploring a virtual castle.
Looking ahead, we have Section 6, the future of immersion. Let's see how we're fixing these issues.
The tech industry is definitely not standing still, though. Innovators are actively looking at the horizon, developing unbelievable new hardware and software to solve those exact limitations. Experts are promising much higher resolution displays, which is really going to help cure that eye strain and make the virtual worlds look hyper-realistic. But more importantly, we're seeing a massive push for lighter headsets. We're moving away from those heavy, bulky helmets to sleek designs that feel much more like wearing ski goggles or even just a thick pair of sunglasses. Combine that with flawlessly accurate motion tracking and some really deep integration with artificial intelligence, and you drastically reduce the physical friction of using VR. When this hardware becomes lightweight and comfortable, using it every single day in virtual workplaces and classrooms becomes entirely practical.
Ultimately, this is the grand promise of virtual reality. We are hurtling toward a highly integrated digital future. VR is proving, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it isn't just a niche gaming console. It is a fundamental new computing platform. It's steadily transforming how we learn our history, how we collaborate with colleagues halfway across the world, how we socialize, and how we entertain ourselves.
So I want to leave you with this final kind of provocative thought to ponder today. As this immersive technology rapidly evolves over the next few years, when virtual reality finally becomes as light, as cheap, and as effortless to wear as a standard pair of reading glasses, what reality will you choose to learn in? Just imagine a seamless, totally friction-free future of education where the entire universe is quite literally your classroom. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next one.